the Extreme Eye Center here in Indian Trail, North Carolina. We are in the Charlotte Rush coach's office. We're going to talk Charlotte Rush Premier Hockey today as we get set for the big home opener this weekend for the Charlotte Rush against the Carolina Eagles from Raleigh, North Carolina. And of course, the Rush getting underway this past weekend on the road against Hampton Roads. And to talk about that game and also the ones coming up, let's bring in the head coach of the Charlotte Rush Premier and assistant general manager, Lennie Childs. And Lennie, opened it up last Saturday against Hampton Roads. The team fell by just one goal. A lot of adversity in the game, lots of penalties the Rush took, had to play shorthanded a lot. But just talk about what you liked about your team despite just losing by a goal 5-4.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, the discipline thing, right? We're taking care of, and what we loved is guys were competing. We were dominating physically on the ice, 5v5, and that was in one short week of actual work. So systems look pretty dialed in, and obviously there's tweaks and things that we have to work on, to be able to be at our best. But our compete was unbelievable. Our players were dominating. We had a lot of speed. Our transition game was really good, and the adversity, right? I mean, we were up, and all of a sudden we're even. We went back up, and we're down. We're back up, right? So our guys never quit, and we stayed on pretty much an even keel the whole time, which is what we're preaching here. And guys on the bench was calm, and it was energetic, and we had bench life. So I really couldn't have been happier 5v5 with a week of work.
Also, I know you had to be happy with the fact in your 4 goals, 1 goal by 4 different players. Always like to spread that around a little bit and not rely on 1 or 2 guys. Yeah,
and the funny thing too is that guys that you would obviously look at and peg like, oh yeah, these guys are the guys that score. They didn't score, right? So if you can say our top goal scorers didn't even put the puck in the net, and we scored 4 goals. I like where we're going to be at coming down later. So definitely scoring by committee is something that we're not going to say no to, right? We're going to love that, and that just shows that it doesn't matter whose night it is, guys are prepared.
Always good to get that secondary scoring, isn't it, for sure? We're with Lennie Childs, head coach of the Charlotte Rush Premier, talking about last weekend. We're going to be promoting this weekend's home opener against the Carolina Eagles as well. Well, Anthony Keating got the starting goal for you, Lennie. And again, Anthony played a couple of seasons with the Elite, and now he is with the Premier. He did play a Premier game last year, but it's his first start as a real member of the Premier team. Critique his performance on Saturday.
Keats actually, he made some good timely saves for us. He played big, and poor kid, we didn't give him easy, the goals that came in weren't easy, right? There were screens and tips and, off of the penalty kill, or, one he made the initial save off a rebound, and we couldn't get under sticks in front of the net, and that, that second, third shot went in. So on the initial saves, he was good for us. It was good for us, and I know that was, off the first game in Hampton after last year, definitely something, tough for him. I thought he handled it pretty well.
All right, Lennie, also want to talk about why there was no game on Sunday. Unfortunately, there was an incident after the game on the ice. One of our players got knocked down. It escalated. There were lots of fights and players grabbing on players. There's going to be suspensions coming up, but just a very unfortunate way to end that game, and the fact that didn't get to play on Sunday.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Obviously we're still getting some suspensions back from the league, and the biggest thing is that we've done the whole game. We were really good with our discipline, and still at the end we were good with our discipline. It takes a lot to get poked and poked and poked and poked and poked and poked, and then finally, something like that happens after the end of the game. So, we're moving past it. We're big on getting past, turning the page, and battling through adversity. And I wouldn't have it any other way right now to have great adversity to start the season for us to really show our true colors. So I'm really happy to see how our guys are going to respond this weekend, and the last 2 days of practice have been really good, high tempo, and moving up the ladder. So if we can keep that adversity in our blood the rest of the year, I'm going to like where we're at.
Well, we don't know exactly how many suspensions we have, 100% definitely. That's still being sorted out by the league. But the one good thing about the Charlotte Rush we've always had, now heading into our 4th season, lots of depth. So as they always say, next man up. And while some of our guys won't be in there, I know you and John are confident that we've got some guys that can step up.
Yeah, that's the very fortunate thing. And because everyone's working towards the same goal, rarely do we need to sit back in our chair and go, oh, man, who are we putting out? Next man up, let's roll. And we all have that mentality, and that's how we have our practices usually, right? So our practices are a high-tempo style, and anyone can be in and out of the lineup at any day based off their performance performance of that day. So our guys are prepared, and there's in that locker room right now, it's very calm, it's very cool, it's very collective. No one's freaking out, and everyone's like, hey, you know what, who's ever up, like, good luck, let's go get it going.
And Lennie, one last question before we move on to this coming weekend. Your very first game as the head coach of the Charlotte Rush Premier against the defending champions. Were you a little nervous? Any butterflies? Or was it pretty calm, cool, and collected out there in Hampton Roads for you?
You know, for me, I always end up getting jacked up for the games, right? So really nerves are taken away pretty quick. We do, I like to say I do my coaching during the week. So during the week, we put the details in order, and we make sure things are in tip-top shape. And then when game time comes, it's just fun. It's getting the guys motivated. It's getting the guys riled up. It's being that voice on the bench of encouragement, motivation, and you know, that's I don't get nervous like I did when I was a player. It's just kind of like let's put the pedal to the metal. Let's go.
We're talking with Lennie Childs, the head coach of the Charlotte Rush Premier. We're in the coach's office on our video Wednesday, talking about last week's game in Hampton Roads, and now looking forward. Speaking of adversity, there is this little storm brewing in the Atlantic Ocean. It's going to be a big storm, really, Hurricane Florence. And, Lennie, that is expected to impact the Carolinas. And right now, just to let our fans know, as of Wednesday at 12 noon, the games are still on, but it's really going to be monitoring everything because the Carolina Eagles have to get here on Saturday from Raleigh. So I guess right now it's just kind of a wait and see, correct?
Yeah, wait and see, and our guys are business as usual. So, you know, we're here, the same exact schedule. We're preparing to play, and if we don't, we don't. But right now our focus is on Carolina. We're, you know, preparing for them and preparing to make sure we're ready for that. And, you know, obviously being fortunate if we can't play, I'd love to get back on the ice. And I know these guys are kind of just chomping at the bit. But like I said, we're business as usual here.
All right, Carolina Eagles hopefully coming into play. And, Lennie, we played them in preseason. And I know it's only preseason. You and John were, and I'm sure Lincoln and Rich were doing the same thing, just trying to look and see everybody. But it's the real thing now on Saturday and Sunday. But just talk about how good it will be to get back home and play in front of our home fans.
Yeah, that'd be obviously my first time here at home, and I'm excited for that, to see how our guys, you know, can definitely get out there and make it happen here. And, you know, we don't take things lightly at home. We make sure that we take care of business here. So Carolina, good opponent. Even in the exhibition games, they gave us, you know, definitely a good run for our money, and you know, they have good players over there. And you know, shout out to Lincoln; those guys do a really good job over there developing. So you know, we have our hands full, but we just stick to the process. That's what we're doing here. So again, same thing with Hampton, Carolina. Doesn't matter who we play. We're sticking to the process, and we're going to roll.
One last question for you, Lennie. Aside from the suspensions, any major injuries at all? How did we come out of the game physically against Hampton Roads?
So Demacopoulos, you know, he was hurt pretty bad, bruised ribs and things like that. He's been battling. He wants to stay in the lineup, so we're monitoring him, making sure through that. But other than that, we've been pretty healthy. You know, we do have some guys with nicks and bruises, you know, based off the way we practice. But you know, guys have weathered through the storm, you know, pretty good.
Lennie, thanks as always for your expert color analysis and giving us the tidbits of the game. We look forward to a great weekend, hopefully without the hurricane, and hopefully you get your first couple wins as the Charlotte Rush Premier head coach.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I can't wait to get right out of it. I appreciate it.
All right, Lennie's going to get a good applause too as we introduce him to the home fans this coming Saturday. Well, again, weather permitting, when there's no incidents with the hurricanes, the Rush will play the home opener Saturday and then back again on Sunday. The elite team will get underway at 5 o'clock against the Carolina Eagles. And then the premier team about 7:45 on Saturday. 9:20, the elite comes right back to play on Sunday morning. And then Sunday around noon, 12:15, the Charlotte Rush Premier will play its second game against the Carolina Eagles. But again, weather-wise, we are keeping track of the hurricane. Make sure you go to our Charlotte Rush website to get information on the game, to be sure it's being played. Also Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Thanks to head coach of the Charlotte Rush Premier, Lennie Childs. Our cameraman for our video today, Anthony Pagnotta from the Carolina School of Broadcasting. And I'm Tim Donnelly, play-by-play voice of the Charlotte Rush. Thanks so much for watching.